introductions, ladies and gentlemen, by our ring announcer, Mark Notian. Doyle King, once again here with me, the voice of radio wrestling in Doyle. Six-man tag team action here. And, of course, the Texas Six-Man Tag Team Championship is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling very soon. The fans get to look at this action here.
This is going to be a great match. You know what happens when you bring the American Force into the ring. The guys that a lot of people are calling, comparing them to the Von Erich brothers when they were starting out, young men in the business. They've only been wrestling together for 6 months.
Well, they are very exciting, and you'll get to see them here as they team up with a hitman, David Patterson, to take on Antonio Zapata, Jeff Gaylord of the San Antonio Gunslingers. And I think everybody knows the story about the Gunslingers. And, of course, the Golden Boy, Mike Golden, and Miss Fantasy is at ringside. It's Zapata starting with Michaels. Look at this reversal by Michaels. He has Zapata up and flips him in the air.
What a backdrop. Look at Zapata. He almost slid out from under on that one to try to get his breath back. You know, boy, when you hit the ring that hard, it knocks all the air out of you. It takes a minute to recuperate from something like that.
Antonio Zapata, Fantasy is yelling out. She's yelling something at Zapata. And he goes in and evidently tries to do what she tells him. We'll keep our eye on Fantasy. Here's a tag on the other side now. Comes the other half, the American Force. Paul Diamond right into the muscle of that left arm.
Yeah, that elbow drop from the top rope. The boys look like panthers out there as they use those ropes to their best advantage. A great tag team these men are.
Little hair pulling there, and there's a shoulder tackle knocking down Zapata. Over the top goes Diamond. Reversal on the hip toss, this Diamond controlling, and now an arm drag, and Paul Diamond tags out to the Hitman.
Hitman Patterson comes in, leaps over that top rope, and puts a boot down to the muscle of that arm, and then puts that arm back into the bar there.
Well, Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road here at the state capitol at the City Coliseum. And ladies and gentlemen, Corpus Christi want to tell you that the next time Texas All-Star Wrestling goes on the road, it's going to be at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi on Thursday, January the 2nd. We're going to start your new year out right in Corpus with Texas All-Star Wrestling and world-class wrestling on the road.
The Golden Boy having his problems right now dealing with the American Force. Oh, well, no problem pulling the hair there to get out of that hold.
I noticed Fantasy outside the ring across the way as we look across the City Coliseum here in Austin. She keeps yelling in to the people in the ring, and they try to do what she says.
Well, of course, you know, Miss Fantasy, she kind of rules the wrestlers that she's involved with. And you always have to keep an eye on her because of the dirty tricks that we've known her to pull in the past, Steve.
The referee, Rudy Gonzalez. There's an armbar with a twist. It's Shawn Michaels of the American Force against the Golden Boy, Mike Golden. It's nice to be here in Austin. We went to the state capitol, as you saw earlier today. There's a shoulder tackle. Down goes the Golden Boy. Over the top goes Michaels. Over the top goes Michaels. Drop kick, and down goes Golden. An arm drag, and Golden stays down to the mat as Michaels tags out to Paul Diamond.
We've got the first attempt at a pin and a one count now. Now look at the American Force go to work as a team with a double elbow there.
Kicked out before the referee could get a count. It's Diamond working on the left arm as Fantasy yells in, tag him, and he did tag out to Antonio Zapata. When do you get a look at this Gaylord coming in the ring later on? Boy, what a massive man he is, 276 pounds. He'll be in the ring in a little while, I'm sure.
It'll be my first time to witness this man and his power. I've heard a lot about him, and I'm looking forward to seeing John Gaylord.
It is the Hitman, David Patterson, putting the hammerlock on Antonio Zapata. Patterson tags out. In comes Shawn Michaels. I don't have favorites in wrestling, but you have to look at this Michaels. He's so outstanding, he just shines. He can do everything. Oh, and does he get caught with a shoulder? And Fantasy yells in, tag out. And here comes Golden. They're doing what Fantasy says.
Every time. She seems to have a pretty good grip on her corner at this time, ordering the men in and out, working them as a team, using all three men to her best advantage.
Golden holds, Zapata hits. So far, unless I missed it, Gaylord has not been in the match.
Now, we haven't gotten a chance to see him yet, but here's Patterson. Look at Patterson. He's up on the middle and bottom ring rope. trying to get that tag. He knows that he needs to make that tag, and you know that he wants to get Gaylord in the ring. Patterson and him, what a feud after what Fantasy did to the Hitman's brother Jimmy.
Well, we saw Fantasy on the screen just a moment ago, and she's yelling instructions into the ring. The Golden Boy and Zapata are doing everything that Fantasy says. Golden slams the head of Michaels into the turnbuckle. Golden takes the arm twist. Fantasy's talking to Zapata now. And now here's the tag. In comes Jeff Gaylord. Look at the size of this guy. You talk about going to be a superstar. He may be the next one in the offering.
Really putting the pressure on that arm, twisting it, working on that shoulder as John Gaylord brings one of the members of the American... Jeff Gaylord, excuse me.
Excuse me, Doyle. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a break right now, and we'll be back with the continuation of this six-man tag team match from the City Coliseum right after this. We join the action to the Golden Boy tagging out to Antonio Zapata here on Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road. Rudy Gonzalez tries to keep the Hitman and them out as it's Zapata now taking Michaels, whipping him across the ring. Oh, and he doubles those fists up and throws that hammer across the chest. Zapata on top, and it's a 2 count.
Hitman was on his way in to try to break that up. Referee now arguing with them, telling them to get out. There's another sling and a kick right up under that left pectoral.
Well, let's see. Fantasy's yelling and tagging back in as the Golden Boy, and he goes to the eyes of Shawn Michaels. Golden Boy with a headbutt. Down goes Michaels. Fantasy yelling in again. She tells him to slam me, man. He does. She is running the show at ringside. She's telling him what to do.
Oh, what a power drop right on the chest. Now he picks him up by the hair. Another body slam. And the tag.
You know, I've never seen Fantasy really control a match as she's yelling all the instructions in. You saw Zapata have Michaels down for just a 2 count. What a kick there to the side of the head. Now here comes Gaylord. Oh. Jeff Gaylord holds onto the arm of Shawn Michaels. Fantasy's yelling into Gaylord. She's telling him to slam him. He's not doing it. She says slam him. She says, I said slam him, and he's not doing it.
Well, it looks like Gaylord thinks he's his own man, and Fantasy's not gonna rule him with what he does in the ring. Oh, look at the reverse and a slam on Gaylord, but a missed elbow drop there.
Well, Fantasy's hot at Gaylord. I see her. Boy, look at that look on her face we just saw there a moment ago. The fans begin to chant, USA, USA. Whoa, what a pound there across the head of Michaels from Antonio Zapata. And a kick to Zapata out of Mexico. The fans haven't seen too much of him, but he is tough as he slams Shawn Michaels. Zapata goes into the corner. Zapata up on the middle rope. Dives! Oh, and into the muscle of the arm of Shawn Michaels. It could be, nope, only a 2 count.
The Texas Heavyweight champions, of course, you know, they are a force to be reckoned with here, and they've got their hands full. Shawn has definitely got some problems as he takes that chop under the throat. And a pin, 1 and 2, but not enough for 3. He's a tough opponent. You've got to admit that, Steve.
That he is. As here's the tag now. Jeff Gaylord coming back in. Gaylord, a while ago, didn't pay any attention to the instructions from Fantasy. Everybody else has. I'm talking about the Golden Boy and Zapata. Now she's yelling something else in, and Gaylord just stares at her for a moment. She says something. She says, do it, and he's not doing it. She says, pull the hair, and he's not doing it.
You know, this intrusion from Fantasy and Gaylord's reluctance to accept her word could cost them the match if he, you know, gets his mind distracted on not doing what she asks.
Well, here he is. Zapata holding. Now he tags out to Golden. Golden with a fist. Oh, and down goes Shawn Michaels.
Now the Golden Boy, he's gonna hold Michaels. In comes Gaylord. Gaylord, the referee says no, no, no.
He's saying hit him, and now he says no, he just tags out.
He tags back out of the ring.
He's leaving. He just says, no, I don't have to listen to you. Look at this.
Oh, what a miss. Shawn Michaels ducked, and now it's Michaels in the hit.
Gaylord's arguing with Fantasy. Here comes Zapata. Fist to the midsection by the hitman. Look at Diamond.
A diving sunset pin, and the count 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3 with a sunset flip over the rope as time was about to expire. the American Force of the Headbands. And Fantasy cannot believe what happened. Look at her. She is hot. She can't believe it. But it is going to be the American Force of the Headband, the winner here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. All you fans in Corpus, remember, we're coming there on the 2nd of January with Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road. Stay tuned, because we'll be back with another exciting match right after this.
Weighing 266 pounds, Killer Kim Brooks. And across the ring from Halsted Street, Chicago, Illinois, 467 pounds, the one-man gang. Your referee, Rudy Gonzalez.
Well, Dole, the one-man gang against Killer Brooks and Hart in the corner of Brooks. Of course, it wasn't too long ago that Hart was in the corner, the one-man gang.
Well, that's right. Oh, look, Brooks already takes off before the bell is even rung, trying to get the first punch in on the one-man gang.
Oh, and Brooks lays it in there. There's Brooks laying to the side of the head of one-man gang. He does it again. Killer Brooks and the one-man gang here on Texas All-Star Wrestling tonight at the City Coliseum in Austin. I want to remind all you fans in Corpus Christi that Texas All-Star Wrestling comes with the television crew as we go on the road on January the 2nd. That's on Thursday night. So come on out to the Memorial Coliseum as a one-man gang picks up Killer Brooks. Well, I thought he was going to slam him, but he picks up the rope and he's choking him at the ringside.
Killer Brooks and the one-man gang. One-man gang's already taken the match outside the ring as he threw Brooks outside the ring. Now Brooks hanging on a gang, getting back in at a chokehold on the Moon.
Well, the Big Moon from Halsted Street, Chicago, Illinois against Killer Brooks. Next week here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, you'll be getting a look at another exciting six-man tag team match. And remember that six-man Texas tag team title is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling, so continue to watch for it. Killer Brooks lays a fist to the side of the jaw. While we're here in Austin, Texas, I'd like to say a special hello to Colonel Massey, who is the commander of Bergstrom Air Force Base, and I hope the Colonel's here tonight. And we want to thank him for the support out at Bergstrom Air Force Base, and we're going back over there in January also.
We look forward to doing that. You were talking about the breakup of Gary Hart and the one-man gang. There's some interviews with one-man gang. He said that Gary's friends and Lewin's friends and ideas and perspectives don't meet with his own, and there was such a conflict there that the Moon could no longer continue with Hart. And the Moon has done some damage, in the past to Gary Hart. What with Mark Lewin, gang had a shot at Mark Lewin. If he beat Mark Lewin in Fort Worth, Texas one night, he got 5 minutes with Gary Hart. But Moon jumped Lewin in a parking lot and used a piece of steel to batter Mark Lewin's head where he couldn't wrestle. Gary Hart had to put a sub-man in. The Moon won, and of course you saw what happened in Reunion Arena Thanksgiving. The Moon defeating Gary Hart, pummeling him in some 55 seconds.
And there's the Moon laying him across the head of Killer Brooks. Brooks bouncing off the rope. The Moon is fronted. He throws Killer Brooks over. Gary Hart cannot believe what is happening out at ringside. Now there's the big squeeze. Here comes Gary Hart into the ring. Oh, and Moon saw him coming. He lays into Hart. I think he was trying to sucker Hart to get in there anyhow. He knocked him down. Now he goes to pounding. No. Wait a minute. Here comes Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody is coming back.
Brody comes to the ring, off the rope. Oh, and a big boot, the foot right upside the head of the one-man gang, and Brody's taken over.
Brody come out of nowhere. He started pounding on the Moon. He saw the Moon take care of Gary Hart. Now it's Brody and Brooks both kicking. The one-man gang. Gary Hart is yelling to him. The referee has asked for the bell. And here comes Big Bubba. Oh, the Moon's newfound friend and tag team partner has come into the ring. Big Bubba. He gets a kick from Brody. He gets knocked down, Brother. He gets knocked back into the corner. Brooks is putting the boost to the one-man gang. Brody putting the boots to Big Bubba.
And it's all Bruiser Brody now. Brody and Brooks working over one-man gang and Big Bubba. There it is, the $1 million man that Gary Hart paid so dearly for.
Well, the $1 million man who made his first appearance here on Texas All-Star Wrestling last week is now making his second appearance here tonight. Here comes the security into the ring trying to get him out. Brody is tied up with the gang.
And Brooks and Big Bubba over there as they go tumbling out on the outside. The ring has collapsed, Steve. They've collapsed the ring.
The ring has collapsed, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen that on a television match, but the ring has collapsed. I can't believe it. Oh, can you believe that? It just went down in the middle. Brody and the gang, Bubba, and everybody in there, they're monsters, and they're still fighting.
I don't think that they're going to be able to break this up. They're sending some help from the back. Here they come, trying to break up these monster men down here in the ring.
There goes the referee throwing out.
Brody does that. Gary Hart.
Oh, Casey is in there. Here comes Killer Brooks and
Well, there's
Bruiser Brody. There's Bobby Duncan.
another shot.
Brody has him. Brody takes him, throws him into the drink. And ladies and gentlemen, Buddy Marino is in there. Brody being led away by Gary Hart at ringside. Ladies and gentlemen, the ring collapsed, and it's no wonder as Bruiser Brody takes over here. And he
Brody
walks down into the crowd. He's wild.
Look at the
He's
people
crazy.
scatter.
They're trying to find him over there. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be back with more exciting action here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Well, Bruiser Brody has not left yet. Brody is crazy. Too much weight in that ring, and it really collapsed the ring as Brody towards the City Coliseum. They're having a hard time getting him out of here. We'll have to fix the ring if we can get Brody out of here. He has got everybody in the Coliseum just moving. Bruiser Brody.
He's a wild man.
I can't believe that ring breaking down, Doyle, but it has. As you can see, there goes Brody.
With all those big men in the ring, Steve, how could it help but with the, thousands of pounds in there in these men?
Well, the ring has gone to the floor as all that weight from Brody and Bubba, the one-man gang. Stay tuned because Texas All-Star Wrestling will continue after this.
I'm Derek Turner of the Baylor Football.
Matches, that's 7:30 on Saturday, January the 4th, right there in Temple at the Mayburn Civic Center. You can pick up your advance tickets at the Mayburn Civic Center.
I bet the people in Temple, Texas is saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe that in Temple, Texas, Big Bruiser Brody's coming to town to beat up one of Skandor Akbar's henchmen, they like to call him. Well, you know what I like to call you, Kamala? A great, big, stuffed, overrated nothing. Because this time, you're going against the legendary Bruiser Brody. Somebody said that when I paid $1 million, I paid too much. No, I never paid too much because what Bruiser Brody can offer me is carte blanche. And let me tell you something, Skandor Akbar. After Bruiser Brody knocks the stuffings out of this big black bear you call Kamala, I'm going to go into the ring, and I am going to wipe all that paint that you wear on your face and give everybody in Temple a good look. What a goon you are. And also, the American Force. I've made arrangements for Tokyo, and I've made arrangements for the Cup. Austin Idol, Tim Brooks, Bruiser Brody. Temple, Texas, you ain't never had it so good, have you?
Texas All-Star Wrestling at the Mayburn Civic Center in Temple, Texas on Saturday, January the 4th, 7:30 starting time. Get your tickets at the Civic Center and don't miss the $1 million man. has been brought into the City Coliseum, and I'll tell you what, this is reinforced. All that weight in the ring, and with that Texas six-man tag team title tournament coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling, I think we're going to have to double reinforce the ring, Dole.
Well, you know, in that match between Brody and the gang, and we saw Big Bubba come out there, and some 1,400 pounds of weight just literally collapsed those 2x8. It broke 7 of them. This one's already started up, Steve.
There it is, Casey and Chris Adams. Adams bails out of the ring. Casey tries to get the gear off. And remember, this is Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road tonight at the state capitol. And we will be going on the road again January the 2nd at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi. Texas All-Star Wrestling and World-Class Wrestling together. All you fans in Corpus Christi, be sure you come on out and enjoy the television taping. Next week, here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, we'll have another one of those big six-mans for you, and we will have the reinforced ring for that. There's one as they exchange blows. Chris Adams knocked back. You know, for months, world-class wrestlers were chasing Chris Adams trying to get that mask off, and Cowboy Scott Casey was the first one to remove it over at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio.
Well, that's right. He did, and, you know, he put the degradation on Chris Adams when he removed that match to expose that quarter-inch of hair that he did have on his head. Of course, Scott Casey, one of the men that cut Chris Adams' hair in the Cotton Bowl Spectacular that was held in Dallas on Labor Day.
Casey with a kick. Casey uppercuts that arm. Casey takes Adams, whips him into the ropes, gets him with an elbow, and knocks him down the center of the ring. Steve Stack here ringside along with Dole King. Dole, the voice of the Radio Wrestling Network. And we hope you're enjoying the action at home. Also next week here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, the $1 Million Man, Bruiser Brody, will be back.
Brody, what a devastation he caused here in Austin. Collapsing of the ring, going into the audience, bringing out a 2x4, and sending a man to the hospital as Gary Hart brought down the ambulance. That he said he takes such good care of the wrestlers that Brody does whip into senselessness.
I don't want Gary Hart taking care of me, that's for sure. There's an elbow into that arm. I still can't get over that ring. I've seen rings collapse and break, but never like that, where the whole thing just went down, and it looked like they were on their knees when I first glanced at the ring, and all of a sudden I realized what had happened.
It was hard to see, Steve, with all the fans standing up here by ringside, and I could tell that the men weren't as tall standing up as they should be in that ring, and then noticing that the entire ring had collapsed, breaking some 7 2x8s under it, and it's a good thing that we do have a reinforced ring here tonight, as you were talking about, in preparation for that big six-man Texas title coming up.
Well, the special ring was here at the City Coliseum, and it was put up by Fred and Steve, and we want to thank them because they really worked hard. They're employees of the city of Austin, and they really did an outstanding job here tonight. Look at these guys exchanging blows. Gentleman Chris Adams. Well, not too many people think he's a gentleman right now.
Oh, I haven't heard him called a gentleman in quite some time. That's the trademark that he went under, and if you ask Chris Adams, he says he doesn't wrestle any differently today than when he was under the auspices of Gary Hart.
That knee was pretty close to the throat. He gets a 1 count as the referee Rudy Gonzalez slaps that mat. It's Chris Adams in behind with a face lock here on Scott Casey. Large crowd on hand here tonight at City Coliseum. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be rejoining this action here at the City Coliseum. Continues here from the City Coliseum in Austin as we pick up the action with Chris Adams holding on to the headlock of Scott Casey. Once again, I want to remind you fans that Bruiser Brody, the $1 Million Man, will be back next week. Also, another one of those exciting six-man tag team matches. And the ring will be reinforced so it doesn't collapse like it did earlier here tonight.
What a move Scott Casey just put on Chris Adams. They reversed the atomic drop. Chris Adams turned it back around on Scott Casey. But then Casey, when Chris went for that diving pin, stuck those arms up there and got some fingers into the throat, it looked like, when Adams came down. But Chris has come back on top now. It was almost like a sleep hold, Steve.
He is. He's got it locked on tight as Chris Adams Still not too happy with the way that his hair looks, and I'm sure he can't wait for it to grow out. The fans pick on him all the time. He said to me earlier as I talked to him, he used to cheer him, now they throw things at him. Casey trying to work his way up. Casey not wanting to go down to the sleeper of Chris Adams. Here comes Adams. Oh, and Chris Adams holds on to the hair of Scott Casey.
Referee saw that hole, Steve, and he did call for the break, but Adams continuing to use the hair. Look at him now choking Casey over that top rope. There's a feud been brewing between these two for quite some time, since the spatting of Casey's face that Chris Adams did at the Cotton Bowl when he was cutting that hair, and now the men exchanging rights and lefts out in the ring here in Austin.
All you fans in Corpus Christi, Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road at the Memorial Coliseum on Thursday, January the 2nd, 1986. Come on out, because we'll be taping the entire television program from Corpus Christi. Chris Adams has his head slammed into the turnbuckle by the Cowboy, Scott Casey. There's one to the midsection by Casey, another one to the midsection. Casey grabs him by the arm, whips him all the way across to the ring. He goes in, and Chris Adams moves, and it's the elbow of Scott Casey going into the turnbuckle.
Casey really taking the brunt of the punishment from Adams right now. Chris has got him worked up where Casey's having to suck a little bit of air. There's a sling across, and Adams comes in. Oh,
Clothesline.
And Chris with that headbutt right into the sternum there, a count of 2 on Casey. Adams wanting that 3 count.
He was wanting the fast count.
Yeah,
that's what he was wanting.
That's not the way it is. It's a 3-second count. 1, 2, and 3.
There's a fist to the side of the jaw by Chris Adams. He takes Casey, slams him into the turnbuckle. There's another fist, that right on the jaw. Another one as Adams pulls him off the ropes. There's a sleeper in the center of the ring now as Chris Adams has locked it on Scott Casey.
He's got him in the center of the ring, and that's a place where Scott Casey doesn't want to be. Casey now going down to his knees as Adams has got that sleep hold locked on tight. Trying to cut the blood flow off to the brain of Scott Casey, where he could literally lose consciousness if he doesn't find some way to counter this hold that Adams has got on him.
The referee, Rudy Gonzalez, checking Casey. Casey is not out yet. The referee not asking for the bell. The timekeeper and ring announcer at ringside, Mark Nolte. The referee, Rudy Gonzalez. Here in Austin at the City Coliseum for Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road as Casey tries to fight back.
Casey flinging those elbows in there, trying to find any way that he can. Casey really having some problems in this hold as Chris Adams really got him this time, Steve. Oh, there's the flip over, and Casey's out of it.
Casey got out of it. Here comes Casey. They collide. Down went Adams from the shoulder tackle. This time he throws Casey out on the floor. Casey out on the floor. As you look at Chris Adams in the ring, Casey tries to make his way back up on the apron. Adams kicks him out. Chris Adams not allowing Scott Casey to get back in the ring. Here comes Casey up on the apron again. Adams is right there.
Look at that. Those fingers up under the throat. Oh, the super kick. Even Scott Casey just draped over that rope, Steve. Adams thinks he's got it in the bag. Now, look at him, that smile on his face. I'm surprised he didn't do his little victory flip there.
Here comes Casey. Oh, Adams is tying him up. Adams has him tied up in the ropes.
Referee's trying to call.
Trying to get him out of there.
He's got the 5 count to break that hold, and there's about 3. The referee trying to get Scott Casey loosed up as Adams looks like he's putting a judo fingers up in the. Oh, look at that!
Oh, Adams went diving. Casey moved out of the way.
Adams just circled over that rope, landed out on the apron, but now the tide has turned. The momentum is gone from Adams, and it's Casey's turn. And look at that, just driving those rights. There must have been 7 of them there into the side of the face of Chris Adams.
Casey pulls him to the center of the ring, has him up, and drops him on his head.
What a pile driver by Scott Casey. He's got Adams there. There's a knee into the shoulder. right up on that collarbone.
They continue to battle it out. Casey laying him in on Adams. Adams knocks him into the referee, Rudy Gonzalez. Gonzalez is out. Rudy Gonzalez is out. He's been knocked cold. In comes Adams. He has his tag team title belt. He pounds Casey with it. Now he's going over to the referee, Rudy Gonzalez, trying to get him over. Adams is going to roll Casey over. The referee's going to count 1, 2, 3.
And there's 3. Chris Adams using to his best advantage what he did with Scott Casey by throwing Casey into the referee there and coming out with the victory in this match, Steve.
Well, I don't know about that because Adams had the referee out of the way and then he used the belt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is about to expire, but before we go away, I want to thank you for coming by.
Thank you very much, Steve. Enjoyed it.
And we want to take you back and show you what happened earlier with all the weight in the ring. As the ring went down here at the City Coliseum as you watch. Till next week, Steve Stack saying so long for Texas All-Star Wrestling. $1 million man who made his...
Is, in present tense, the greatest feud in the history.
Welcome to Texas All-Star Wrestling. Miss Fantasy here with me, and I'll be out in just a moment. He'll be going into the ring here on Texas All-Star Wrestling today. Plus, the $1 million man, Bruiser Brody, is back on Texas All-Star Wrestling tonight, and we've got another one of those monstrous 6-man tag team matches. Remember last week in Austin when the ring collapsed? Well, we've got a new reinforced ring and another big 6-man tag team match to bring to you. Other exciting matches, so don't go away. It's Texas All-Star Wrestling, the hour of excitement about to begin. Miss Fantasy.
Back up a little bit when you talk to me, Steve Stacks. Don't stand too close.
I understand that you have a new feature that you're going to incorporate into Texas All-Star Wrestling called Up Front with Fantasy.
That's right, and I might even take over your job, Steve Stacks.
Well, let me ask you what Up Front with Fantasy is going to be.
Up Front with Fantasy, everybody has seen Piper's Pit and Jesse's Body Shop. This is going to be a ladies' point of view on the wrestling business, Steve Stack.
What can you bring out that Rapido and I cannot bring out?
Hey, I can bring out plenty. I can ask questions that you don't know how to ask people, Steve Stack, like that stupid big fat Bubba and the American Force. They ain't nothing. This is going to be next week. I'm going to have a very, very special guest that I met. All you ladies, be prepared. Stay tuned and tune in because you're going to love this guy. I know it's going to be great. I want you to see what's going on. I'm going to ask the kind of questions.
Tell us who he is.
I don't want to tell you who it is, Steve Stacks. Why don't you just wait and see? I don't have to tell you nothing. But I'll tell you this. I might even have your job by the time it's all over because I'm going to ask all the questions that you don't know how to ask.
Well, you don't want me to get next to you. I'd appreciate it if you'd keep your hands off me.
Well, looks like you need to get some new clothes. I thought we told you that before.
Well, there you have it. Coming up front with Fantasy here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Don't go away because our first exciting match with Chris Adams in the ring right after this. Texas All-Star Wrestling will be in Georgetown at the Community Center on Tuesday, January the 7th, 7:30 starting time. Come on over to Georgetown and enjoy the matches. And Texas All-Star Wrestling returns to Waco at the Convention Center on Saturday, January the 11th, 7:30 starting time. The Texas Cup is in Texas, and it will be on the line in the main event where there's $10,000 in Waco on the 11th. Such stars as Bruiser Brody will be there. Big Bubba, the Zambui Express, the Cowboy Scott Casey, Austin Idol, and many, many more. They're all battling for that $10,000, which is on the line in the main event. And 4 lucky fans in Waco will be selected, given ringside tickets to the finals at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio on the 26th of January. And if the wrestler who wins the main event in Waco wins the main event there in San Antonio, then the Texas Cup will be presented at the Convention Center in Waco, and the fans who have been selected will be shown on television with that wrestler and have their picture taken with him. So it's a Texas Cup in Waco at the Convention Center, Saturday, January 11th, 7:30. Advance tickets at Marcy's Hamburger, number 754-3821. Scott Casey.
Mr. Stack, Do you by any chance know whose face is on a $10,000 bill?
No, I sure don't.
Do you, Mr. Bubba?
No.
Well, neither do I. I've never seen one, but I guarantee you, between the two of us, one of us has got to be able to see that. And it may happen there in Waco. I want to find out who's on a $10,000 bill, and I also want to win that Texas Cup, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It's the most prestigious cup in all of wrestling. And not to include that, just imagine winning the whole shebang. $100,000. If you're a depressed man, that sure put a smile on your face. Absolutely. It's going to happen, folks. The biggest thing since sliced bread. I'm telling you right now, the Texas Cup is where it's at. Nothing else. I don't care if you want to watch. It doesn't matter. The Texas Cup is where it's at.
Bruiser Brody will be in Waco on the 11th.
Let's say something about
weighing 234 pounds, the co-holder of the American Tag Team Championship, gentleman, Chris Adams. His opponent in this non-title match, from Caracas, Venezuela, weighing 229 pounds, Buddy Moreno.
Well, they have the introductions, ladies and gentlemen, from Mark Nolte, our ring announcer here at the City Coliseum in Austin for Texas All-Star Wrestling tonight. Buddy Moreno, the South American Heavyweight Champion, against Chris Adams. Chris Adams off with the jacket. Well, you remember last week, Chris Adams out here battling with Scott Casey, and things completely got out of hand. And Chris Adams using that belt to pound and take care of Scott Casey, and Casey was pinned, but I don't think it was, and I think the fans know at home that Scott Casey would have never been pinned if Chris Adams hadn't used that belt. Back here with me this week, Doyle King of the Radio Wrestling Network, and Doyle, it's good to have you back.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. It's good to be back here in Austin. You know, there's a special match that has just come underway. I don't know all the details about it, but I understand that it's going to be on television, a cage match between Adams and Casey.
Well, we just understand that next week, here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, we'll have a cage match from the Corpus Christi Memorial Coliseum, where our cameras are going live, and you'll be able to see that match from Corpus Christi. It's the first time ever on television, I'm talking about live, a cage match.
That is amazing, Steve. We're going to look forward to that. Whoa, what a toss there on Adams, and a drop kick sends him all the way over the top.
Over the top, out onto the timekeeper's table, and Chris Adams doesn't like it as he toes a chair in, as Buddy Moreno, the South American Heavyweight Champion, had Chris Adams sailing over that top rope. Well, we've got another one of those big six-man tag team matches ready for you today. You remember the last time we had one, the ring collapsed. We had to get a reinforced ring, and it's ready to go here tonight. This ring has been double reinforced, so we'll wait till that six-man tag team comes, and of course, when all those big wild guys get in there tonight, we hope this ring holds up.
Well, you know, Steve, they've put some extra chains under the ring, and they've taken those 2x8s and replaced them with 2x12s. I don't think that this one is going to break down, but you never can tell what will happen with those super heavyweights now from Texas All-Star Wrestling.
I want to tell all you fans watching that we've got another one of those six-man tag teams, like I told you, coming up later today. And the reason for that is the six-man Texas Tag Team title is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling, and that tournament will be held throughout the state of Texas, and the finals will be at the in San Antonio at the Freeman Coliseum, I believe, on January the 12th.
Adams has got his opponent locked up with that head scissor right in the center of the squared circle. Of course, Chris, the camera hog that he is, looking right into the camera and smiling about everything that he does as he tries to put his man out.
Well, as we look down here to the right, coming up now is a man we want to talk to about what is happening. Not only with Chris Adams, Scott have been informed just before you come out that you will be in a cage next week on television with Chris Adams.
Right, Steve. I'm only here to comment. I'm not going to get involved in this match. I want to say that to Rapido, too. I'm only here to comment. I'm not going to get involved in this match. You know, last week he hit me with his belt. And I tell you what, there's no telling what he might try to do this week. But next week, I've got him in Corpus Christi in a cage,
and it's going to be filmed live. It's not going to be anything that you folks would say, well, like Steve would say, this was shot last week and you're seeing it this week. It's going to be done live in Corpus Christi, and it's never been done before. And I'm going to show the Englishmen what the saying means when they say, fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Well, Scott, I've known you for a long time, and I know the way that he got to you last week here at the City Coliseum, Austin. The fans know also there's no way he's going to pin you without throwing you over that head with that belt.
He can't take a thing into that ring, Steve Stacks and Rapido. He can't take his belt. All he can take is his body and his talent, and therefore lies the answer to the match. Who's the best? You know, God once said he made 1,000 questions and only 250 answers. Let's see if one of the answers is in the 250 for him. I don't think so.
I know the fans in Corpus Christi and throughout the Texas All-Star Wrestling Television Network are going to get a first, as we'll put up a cage for television. That's the first time it's ever been done. As you said earlier, we showed a lot of videotapes, but never live.
Yes, I'm just here to scout, Steve. If you want to go ahead and comment, I'll go along with you. I want to see what he's going to try to do with the South American heavyweight champion.
He must have pulled the hair there, I believe, to get Buddy Marino back into the head scissors. And Scott, a little later on here on Texas All-Star Wrestling Today, we got another one of those big six-man tags coming up. You remember the last time we had one, the whole ring collapsed.
I'm telling you what, Steve, you know, they can say what they want about wrestling around the country, but when it comes to wrestling here at Texas All-Star, you never know what's going to happen. We had a couple of 1,000 pounds just in one corner out there, and when that ring went in, it looked like a herd of buffalo trying to get out of a water hole. And I tell you, it was something to behold.
Right now, it's Chris Adams still having the head of Buddy Marino tied up in between the legs with that head scissors. And now Marino gets the leverage going back, and he had Adams down for a count of 2. Now the referee, Manuel Villalobos, here for this match.
I might add something here. As you folks can tell, this is an entirely different ring from the one that you saw last week because it caved in. If you have ever taken a fall on concrete, that's what this ring is like. I have never in my life witnessed a ring that was suffering. These guys are doing some unbelievable bump taking in there, and I got to give them credit. As much as I hate you, Chris Adams, you're a man of your word, and you're out there wrestling like you normally do, but that is the hardest ring, Steve, I have ever seen in my life.
There's a super kick from Chris Adams. He knocks Buddy Marino back into the rope, and now he ties him up, and it looks like he did this to you last week, Scott.
That's right. That's right. I was lucky enough to get out of it when he tied me up. Now watch, he'll probably do what he did before. No, what's he going to try to do? He's going to take a chair.
He is going outside. He's got a chair, and he's bringing it into the ring. Here he comes with a chair. Oh, Buddy kicks him down. Buddy gets untied from that rope.
That's why he's a South American heavyweight champion.
The bell is sounding. I believe that's going to be a disqualification for bringing the chair into the ring. And Chris Adams slammed into the chair. Buddy Marino goes after Adams. Adams gets out of the way.
That's one tough Venezuelan. He's a tough man, any way you want to look at him.
Adams throwing the chairs in as he is cleaning out here on Texas All-Star. Scott, thank you for coming by. We look forward to seeing you in the ring in Corpus in the cage.
Bye-bye. Adios, amigos.
There you have Scott Casey, ladies and gentlemen. Buddy Marino has his hand raised as Chris Adams disqualified for bringing in the chair. Stay tuned, because when we come back, the $1 Million Man, Bruiser Brody, will be here. Ladies and gentlemen, the ambulance has arrived. That signals the arrival of none other than Bruiser Brody, as he'll be coming out of that ambulance. Gary Hart is right there. And here comes one of the ambulance attendants. And there he is, Bruiser Brody.
Gary Hart, so confident in his $1 Million Man, the man that he paid $1 million for, Bruiser Brody, that he now brings an ambulance to ringside with him, and Brody rolls the gurney down there. He's so confident of sending his man to the hospital, Steve. The arrogance is unbelievable.
Well, here we go. It's Bruiser Brody in the ring against Rudy Gonzalez. The referee is Manuel Villalobos. The announcer is Mark Noty.
Gonzalez, across the ring, seconded by his manager, Gary Hart, from
Brody starts, and Hart with his $1 million man in the ring. Brody with forearms knocks Rudy Gonzalez down. Last week, people were wondering what happened to the two gentlemen. They were both taken to the emergency receiving center, and one of them's going to be out for a long time. Bill Rathke's feeling a lot of pain in that shoulder where he get clobbered with that 2x4. But Mike Scott won't be wrestling for a while.
That neck, Brody came down, and of course, after that, we saw when Brody came back out again here, Gary Hart's $1 million man, he came back out, interfered in a match between the one-man gang and Killer Brooks, and the ring literally collapsed with these super heavyweights here in Texas All-Star Wrestling, Steve.
Well, Rudy has been thrown out to the crowd. Brody is right over there with him. Brody takes Rudy Gonzalez. What's he going to do with him? Takes him around to where the timekeeper's table is, slams his head into the timekeeper's table. As you can see, this wild maniac, Bruiser Brody, here we go. Just about like last week. He uses everything he can get his hands on. It doesn't make any difference. If you remove that table, he would go out back somewhere and find one, or go to a restaurant next door and get one.
Oh, look at that. With one arm, Brody just slams Gonzalez into that table. He leaned the table up against the ring, and now it's knocked down, and Gonzalez, his opponent, is down here on the ring floor. I don't understand why the referee doesn't go ahead and count these men out here.
Well, Brody is wise enough. He knows how to break that count, and now they are back into the ring. Here comes Brody bouncing off the rope. Big kick. There goes to the side of the jaw of Rudy Gonzalez. And Bruiser Brody, I'll tell you what, I just don't know about this. Money changes everybody.
This is the, who would have believed that Gary Hart and Bruiser Brody together after what these men have gone through in the past. But like you said, Steve, money does mean everything to this kind of people.
Big chop. Down goes Rudy Gonzalez. That's right on the throat. Brody yells for a chair. Gary Hart throws it in. Brody straightens out the chair with that big boot.
Oh, the bell is, there's the bell. It's going to be another disqualification, but watch this. He's got Brody, once again, he's going to come up there with that pile driver, picks him up. Look at that. He's got him right over the center of that chair, toying with his man, just holding him there, Steve. Why do they stop this?
He just holds him, and now he drives his head into the chair.
Did you see Gonzalez's head bounce up there?
He is he's out. The match is already over. Brody's going to count himself. Brody keeps slapping him at Bruiser Brody, the wild $1 million man. The $1 million paid by Gary Hart, and the $1 million man wins another one. And the ambulance attendants will have another job of taking Rudy Gonzalez out. Now here goes Brody with a 2x4. Where's he going now?
You know, he used that 2x4 last week. Look at him, smashes it right across that table again. Brody.
He's after the ring announcer, Mark Nolte, and he pushes him down.
Nolte knows enough to get out of there.
Nolte's smart. I would be running also anytime that Bruiser Brody comes after me.
Brody, probably one of the most devastating men in professional wrestling today. He's a wild man. There's absolutely no controlling Bruiser Brody, the $1 million man, as he's so subtitled now.
Now, here he comes. What's he have? He broke that 2x4 in two. Now he's got two pieces. That's double trouble for somebody.
They need to get some help out here. He could kill that man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Bruiser Brody is going to take Rudy Gonzalez out. He's going to roll him out of the ring, and he'll be loading him up on the gurney, I'm sure, and taking him out just like he did last week. And how many weeks are we going to have to put up with a $1 million man?
Something needs to be done about this, Steve. There's no way that this should go on with Brody. This is 2 weeks in a row that he's injured people and sent them literally out of the wrestling business.
Look at this. He's just full of it. He just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. The $1 million man, Bruiser Brody. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be back with Killer Brooks right after this. Tech people. ladies and gentlemen, there you have the introductions of the match between the Hitman and Killer Brooks. And coming up here with me now is Chris Adams. And Chris, earlier when you were in the match, Scott Casey was here, and we referred to what happened last week here at the City Coliseum. And you're going inside a cage next week in Corpus Christi, where we'll have our television cameras live.
Let me just ask you one question. What did happen? I mean, what did happen last week?
Well, it seemed to me that things got out of control. You couldn't stand the heat. You took the belt and you hit Casey over the head with it.
I didn't hit the belt. I didn't hit him with a belt. I did not hit Casey with a belt. Casey is always running away from me. He's a coward, and that's the whole reason that I needed a cage, so that he wouldn't keep running away. And I'm looking forward to a cage at Corpus Christi, because there's nothing I'd like better than to ram his head right from one end of the other to the other, or scrape it along that nasty, vicious, horrible wire. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I also understand, you know, that you're putting yourself in the position for the first time ever on television, live television, to go inside a cage, and you have to back up everything you're saying.
Listen, it was my idea to have a cage match in the first place. I don't know what Scott Casey's been saying. I don't know what he's told you. I don't know what he's told the people. But it was my idea to have a cage match, and the whole reason for having a cage match is so he stops running. I told you once before that I have revenge on my mind. I haven't got revenge yet, and I will in a cage where he can't run. And I'll tell you what, Steve, I'm going to scrape his forehead from one side of the cage to the other until it's raw. I mean it.
Well, stand by as we take a look at this action in the ring. The Hitman, David Patterson, down he goes. A little hair pulling there from Killer Tim Brooks here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Don't forget the cage match here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Plus, next week, another one of those big six-man tag team matches. And you'll see Austin Idol, Killer Brooks, and Bruiser Brody teaming up in that six-man. Oh, what a fight we've got going on for Texas All-Star Wrestling six-man Texas tag team titles. Plus, the Texas Cup is coming to Texas All-Star Wrestling in January for 10 days. You don't want to miss that. And Chris Adams, I know you are involved in the Texas Cup. There's a possibility you can win $100,000.
I understand that they've invited the very, very best wrestlers in the world today to come and wrestle for this Texas Cup. Is that right, Steve?
That's right. They're calling them from the WWF. We got the Wild Samoan Seeking Alpha, plus the Tonga Kid, and I'm telling you, they're coming from all over. Kamala and the Zambu Express from the AWA. You're representing world class. Texas All-Stars Wrestling will be represented by the $1 Million Man, Bruiser Brody.
Just like I said, the best wrestlers in the world, and that's the whole reason that I was invited. And let me tell you one thing. I know there's some big guys in there, but I'll tell you what, brawn does not beat brains. I have brains. I'm the best athletic wrestler in the world today. I use my brains. I use my super kick. I use my athletic ability. And people like Bruiser Brody or Kamala do not frighten me. They do not frighten me. I just have to keep away from them and hit them when I can. I'm telling you what, Steve, this Texas Cup is a big deal, and I aim to win it.
Well, there's a possibility you can win it with your skills, and also if you resort to the tactics like I saw last week.
What do you mean you saw?
In the ring here at the City Coliseum.
Are you saying that I did something?
I just don't think you could have beat Scott Casey fair and square.
I beat Scott Casey fair and square in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, in front of millions of viewers, and you know that, the viewers know that, and I'm sick and tired of him running away, and that's the whole idea of having a cage match.
I don't guess you hit the referee either.
What referee?
That's what I thought you'd say. Well, I'm going to see you in Corpus Christi next week inside that cage.
That's good, because I'll be there, and Scott Casey will be there, and he won't be able to run away.
And there also, you'll be locked inside that cage with just you, Chris Adams. You cannot bring any belts. You cannot bring any foreign objects into the ring.
Listen, Steve, I do not need to bring anything into the ring. My wrestling abilities, my athletic ability, my superb brain, my superb thinking in the ring does not require chairs, does not require belts, does not require ropes. It doesn't require anything. And that's the whole reason, like I told you before, that I need a cage so that Scott Casey can stop running away and I can get revenge on everybody that took a sniff of my hair at the Cotton Bowl.
He got a sniff of your hair. He also was the first man to remove your mask. You didn't like that one bit. I happened to see that as Killer Brooks in behind here on the Hitman, David Patterson, Texas All-Star Wrestling at the City Coliseum, Austin, Texas. We're on the road, and we're going to be on the road next week at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi, where the cage will be up around the ring and Chris Adams will be battling Scott Casey.
See, you know where I come from? I come from England, which is a country full of culture, full of history. And I came over to America, which is no more than 200 years old, and people think that it has history. There is no history in America. Cowboys. I hate cowboys. And even more than cowboys, I hate cowardly cowboys, and I hate cowardly cowboys that cut my hair. And I'll be pleased to get Scott Casey in the middle of a ring with a 10-foot cage wrapped around it so that he cannot run away.
Well, as you see Killer Brooks throwing the Hitman outside the ring, you know, I had a lot of great wrestling friends that came from England also. Les Thornton, as you probably know well, Lord Alfred Hayes, many, many others, but the gentleman Chris Adams is of a different breed.
Well, all the top wrestlers come from England and Europe, obviously, because, you know, I mean, that's where it came from. I mean, wrestling didn't start in America, you know. I mean, it's thousands and thousands of years old. In fact, it was invented by the Romans.
True,
which is in Europe.
Coliseum.
Okay. Well,
Brooks blocked there by the Hitman. The Hitman turns it around on Killer Brooks. The Hitman with a knee to the midsection, and he starts to pound on the head of Killer Brooks. They're in the corner. Armand Hussein is at ringside. The Midnight Cowgirl is also at ringside as the Hitman is up on the ropes, pounding on Brooks.
Killer Brooks has got this match in hand, and I know it's going to bash this Hitman. What's his name, Hitman?
David Patterson, the Hitman. He's thrown off by Brooks.
Well, Brooks is in full control of the match now, and I'm fully sure that Brooks will win. You know, Steve, a lot of people are beginning to tell me that, wow, you know, when you came over from England to America to begin with, you were a nice guy. Everybody liked you, and now you've changed. Well, you know, people are wrong. I haven't changed. I'm just as good looking as ever. I'm just as fast as ever. I'm just as good, if not better, at wrestling than ever. So how have I changed? It's not me that's changed. It's the people that changed. They've changed. It's them that are hypocrites, not me. And all I have to say is, Corpus Christi, cage match, Scott Casey, the cowardly cowboy that always runs away from me. This time, there's no getting away.
There you hear it, ladies and gentlemen, from Chris Adams. Oh, look at this. Hussein helping Brooks. Brooks had the legs on the rope. Hussein held those legs. Announcer Mark Nolte is in there. He said something about, he's telling the referee Manuel Villalobos about the legs being up on the rope. Let's see. Brooks got the 3 count. I don't know whether it's going to stand or not. Asking the crowd, and I saw it. I believe everybody here in Austin saw Brooks's legs on the ropes.
Steve, I knew that Brooks would easily win this match.
Well, the decision is reversed, and now Brooks doesn't like it. And there's a drop kick by the Hitman, and Brooks bails out. Well, Chris, thank you for coming by, and we'll see you in Corpus Christi next week inside the cage.
Yes, you will, Steve, and I look forward to it. Scott Casey, you better show up. You better be there, because I'm going to give you the hiding of your life.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned, because we'll be back with more of Texas All-Star Wrestling right after this. Well, this is our Texas All-Star Wrestling close-up today. I'm sitting here with General Skandor Akbar and 3 of the biggest men I've ever been around. General, I hope you have them under control because I feel very uncomfortable sitting here.
Well, let's have an introduction first. Hacksaw Higgins, Kareem Mohammed, the Zambui Express, and, of course, Kamala, the Ugandan Savage.
I asked where the other Zambui Express is. I knew he's in Texas before.
Right now, he's on tour in the Caribbean, doing very well, I might add. Everybody that's connected with the General does extremely well. Now, you know, initially I came to Texas All-Star Wrestling for a purpose, and that was to get even with Al Madrill on a double cross that he and Gary Hart had worked out together. But since then, of course, that's still in my mind, but since then, the gold, the championship goals that Texas All-Star Wrestling has put in front of me, I just can't resist the temptation. Such as the Asian Tag Championship, the Asian Cup, the Texas Cup, the historical Yes, the American Force and their success they've had in Texas All-Star Wrestling, the Texas Cup, and last but not least, the six-man tag championship of the state of Texas. And can you imagine 3 men over 300 pounds combining to make a team? I might add that the general gets letters, cards, telegrams from all across the world saying, do for me what you've done for Hacksaw Higgins, Zambui Express, Kamala. But remember, it's as simple as you Americans put it. You've got to cut the mustard to be in Devastation Incorporated. Now, I'm getting a lot of letters from irate fans and promoters as well about a shiny object that the Zambui Express...
I've noticed sometimes it looked like at ringside. Did he bring something out of those trucks?
Maybe it's a figment.
It's lacerated a lot of professional wrestlers.
Maybe it's a figment of your imagination. Maybe he's using anything. But remember, professional wrestling is not a game for patsies. It's a man's game. And that's why when you step in the ring in the squared circle with Kamala, you remember it to your dying day. The same goes for the Zambui Express and the same for Hacksaw Higgins. It's simple as this, to be in Devastation Incorporated. I don't tolerate any losers. And these men, for example, Kamala has defeated Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, all within a period of 10 days, and it's on record on the East Coast. And the Zambui Express, he doesn't take any quarters and doesn't want any at Hacksaw Higgins since returning from the Orient on that successful tour. He doesn't want anything but action, and action you'll get in Texas All-Star Wrestling. Right now, there's other business at hand, and I'm leaving.
Well, General, before you leave, let's pick up one thing. There's $100,000 on the line in the
Texas Cup. I'm well aware of it. Money begets money. I am a millionaire plus 10 times over. But $100,000 is a lot of incentive, and you can bet that Devastation Incorporated will be in each of these cities where this Texas Cup will be held, and the $100,000 will come into Devastation Incorporated.
Well, do you plan on placing these 3 men in the 6-man tag team tournament?
Indeed, I do. I told you that I had an option at any course. And remember, they all weigh over 300 pounds. Can you imagine the devastation and the tenacious that these men possess? But I can tell you this, whenever the general's in any arena, and I want everybody to listen, I want Gary Hart to listen, that the general is #1 in professional wrestling. And I think I've proved it everywhere but All-Star Wrestling. You're gonna say General Akbar, you're gonna say Kamala, you're gonna say the Zambui Express, Hacksaw Higgins, because it's gonna be a household word. Right now, I've got other business. As I've said before, now I must leave.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The General Skandor Akbar with Devastation Incorporated, and they all go over 300 pounds. Texas All-Star Wrestling will be in Georgetown at the Community Center on Tuesday, January the 7th, 7:30 starting time. And Texas All-Star Wrestling returns to the Convention Center in Waco on Saturday, January the 11th, 7:30 starting time in Waco. The Texas Cup comes to Waco. There's $100,000 on the line for 10 days, and in Waco there'll be $10,000 on the line in the main event. Such stars as the Zambui Express, Austin Idol, Bruiser Brody. That's right, the big Bruiser man returns to Texas All-Star Wrestling. He'll be in Waco on the 11th, trying for that Texas Cup and $10,000. The Hitman will be there, plus the Golden Boy, Miss Fantasy. I'm sure she'll be at ringside, the American Force, and much, much more. And 4 lucky fans will be selected in Waco, given ringside tickets to the finals at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio on January the 26th. If the wrestler who wins the main event in Waco wins in San Antonio, you'll be presented on television with that wrestler, plus the Texas Cup will be put on display at the Convention Center in Waco. That's Texas All-Star Wrestling with the Texas Cup. Remember, Bruiser Brody will be at the Convention Center in Waco on the 11th. Advance tickets at Marcy's Hamburger, that number 7543821. The Golden Boy and Miss Fantasy.
That's right, Jack Stack. I want everybody to know we're going to be in Georgetown on the 7th. But the Golden Boy's going to take care of business then. Also in Waco, he's going to win that $10,000 from me because he knows I'm expensive, but let me tell you something, Daddy, he knows that I am well worth it. That's why he goes out there and he takes care of business the way he does.
Golden Boy.
You know, Steve Stacks, there's some of the top talent in the world here. The Samoans, the Tonga Kid, Wahoo McDaniel, just to name a few. and there's a lot of hard things to go through to win this Texas Cup, but I don't care whatever it takes. I'm going to walk away with it, brother, because I want the $10,000, and I'm going to buy her a mink coat. You understand?
The Golden Boy will be entered in the Texas Cup. Remember, Bruiser Brody on the 11th of January in Waco. Thank you.
You know me.
Tag team action. One fall. TV time remaining. The television main event. In the ring now from New York City, New York. 298 pounds. The returning Hacksaw Higgins. And his partner weighing 460 pounds from Africa, Kareem Mohammed Azamboui Express. Their opponent, Austin's favorite son, 298 pounds, Bobby Duncombe. And their partner from Offense Race, Chicago, Illinois, 467 pounds, the One-Man Gang. And from Huntington, West Virginia, 431 pounds, the United States Heavyweight Champion, Big Bubba.
Well, there you have the introductions, ladies and gentlemen. Our TV main event of the evening is a six-man tag team match, but there looks like there's one missing, and we just been informed that the Russian Korchenko, who was supposed to come out here with the Zamboui Express and Hacksaw Higgins, was jumped in the back on the way to the ring by the One-Man Gang and Big Bubba, and we understand he may have suffered a leg injury. We'll have to check on that, and we'll let you know more later on if they tell us, or we'll pass it on to you next week, as this is our TV main event. Well, Doyle, what an exciting night for Texas All-Star Wrestling. Last week, we had one of these six-man tag team matches, and the whole ring collapsed. Let's see what's going to happen here.
It surely did. Once again, Steve, they've got these big super heavyweights in here. The team of Duncombe, the Gang, and Big Bubba weighing in at nearly 1,200 pounds just on that one side of the ring alone.
Yeah, and there's 400 plus and 300. That's 700. And if the Russian had been there, but another 300 and some, so they'd have been around 1,200. I don't think the ring could have took 2,400 pounds. I don't care how much it's reinforced.
You know, this could tell the tale of whether this ring reinforcement for these super heavyweights is going to take or not. We've heard from Scott Casey already talking about the ring being so hard, just like concrete out there tonight, because of the reinforcement that they've had to do because of these giants of men.
Well, it's 2 against 3, and look at Big Bubba knock Hacksaw Higgins down. And the reason you're seeing so many six-man tag team matches is we're going into a tournament for the Texas six-man tag team title belts, where the finals will be held in San Antonio on January the 12th. Elimination matches throughout the state of Texas, and you're going to see a lot of super heavyweights in the Texas six-man tag team tournament match.
You got Higgins a shove up into the ropes. There's Zamboui really working on Big Bubba. Referee was distracted out there
by Bobby Duncombe.
And he didn't see what was going on. One-Man Gang comes in the ring and tries to get things broken up there and get him off of those ropes and help his newfound friend Big Bubba out.
It's Hacksaw Higgins in behind with the face lock. Don't forget, next week here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, another big six-man tag team match, and that one will have Killer Brooks, Austin Idol, and $1 Million Man Bruiser Brody in the ring. What a six-man tag team match that ought to be. Plus a cage match from the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi. Scott Casey against Chris Adams. That's next week right here on Texas All-Star Wrestling.
You know, this has got to be some of the best wrestling in the world today. They've got the finest talent here in Texas All-Star Wrestling, and they're bringing talent from all over the world in, too, Steve. This impressive Texas Cup with $10,000 a purse for 10 days, a possibility of a man to win $100,000, and the finals all, of course, are going to be held in the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio on January the 26th.
That's right. We'll be inviting fans from every town that the Texas Cup was held. We'll be inviting them to the finals at the Hemisphere Arena. Look at the Zambui Express. Pound on Big Bubba. He pulls Big Bubba to the center of the ring. The referee, Manuel Villalobos, is tied up with Hacksaw Higgins. Now the Zambui is where he doesn't want to be. He's tied up over there with a one-man gang. Big Bubba and Bobby Duncum, he knows that he gets out of there in a hurry.
He sure does. He moves really fast for a big man. How much does this man weigh in at, Steve?
Over 400 pounds.
He does. He moves fast, Zambui, for a big man. I'd match him up against one-man gang any day, and we've got our chance to see that right now from Texas All-Star Wrestling.
The one-man gang yelling at the crowd, yelling at the Zambui Express. So far, the ring is held up. The Texas Cup coming to Texas in January for 10 days. Look at that, the Zambui trying to knock the gang down, but the gang doesn't move. Looks like one of them giant redwood trees out there in California.
He sure does. Zambui getting the spring off of those ropes and coming in with that barrel-chested chest butt, and one-man gang just leans into him and stands there like a mighty pillar of strength.
A one-man gang raking those fingers around the area of the eyes of the Zambui Express, and now they're backing up, and Bobby Duncum tags in, the fabulous Texan who makes his home right here in Austin, Texas. And Duncum gets in there and lays some heavy stuff on the Zambui Express, but he is stopped. And now the Zambui Express yells to Hacksaw Higgins, and there goes Duncum thrown right into the boot of Hacksaw Higgins.
There's the tag, and Higgins is going to come in. Watch them both work on this man right here. Have him up against the ropes. Now one-man gang comes in too.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll rejoin this match right after this. Now we pick up the action as Hacksaw Higgins catches a boot from Bobby Duncum. Steve Stack here at ringside at the City Coliseum in Austin, along with Doyle King from the Radio Wrestling Network.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here in Austin, our state's capital, with the finest wrestling in the world happening in the Coliseum here tonight.
Now we pick up the announcement. 5 minutes have gone by in this match as Duncum tags out to Big Bubba. All you fans watching on the Texas All-Star Wrestling Network up in West Virginia, Bubba is from Huntington, West Virginia, and he's proud to be wrestling for you fans in West Virginia as he catches a big boot and down he goes.
Perhaps the inexperience of Bubba showing there a little bit as he telegraphed, and those fingers up under the throat. Bubba kind of telegraphing what he was going to do. Higgins, a bit more experienced, of course, puts that boot up there, and he's ready for whatever can happen.
The Zambui Express now choking Big Bubba as he has him across that top rope. Here comes a one-man gang and Manuel Villalobos. Well, what has happened here? The one-man gang is respecting the rights of the official. In other words, he could have pushed that official out of the way and went right on over to help out, but he was asked to get out of the ring, and that he did.
Yes, he certainly did. One-man gang abiding by the rules as much as possible until he gets to that point. If his opponent can get him to that point, if his opponent is able to bring the one-man gang into that frenzy that we've seen the Moon get into sometimes.
The Zambui Express holding on to Big Bubba from in front. Next week, a cage match from Corpus Christi's Memorial Coliseum. You'll be seeing Chris Adams from World Class against Scott Casey from Texas All-Star Wrestling, plus another six-man tag team match and more excitement. That's next week right here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Look at Duncum now. Get in there and throw some punches to the side of the head of the Zambui Express. Now they're backing into the corner. The Zambui, did he tag out? I don't know if he tagged.
He's close enough to make the tag, and yeah, he did. Higgins coming in the ring now. He's going to face off against Duncum, a double hammer drive down right across the back, and there's a shot upside the head and an elbow right upside the head.
There's another elbow to the back of the neck of the fabulous Texan Bobby Duncum here on Texas All-Star Wrestling as the crowd begins to chant, Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. Hacksaw Higgins, reversal by Duncum. Into the corner goes Hacksaw. Duncum has him up.
drops him across that knee. Duncan covers him up, and here's a count, and it's 2.5.
Almost 3. Referee's hand was down on the end. Here's another sling across. Oh, and he was going to go for that backdrop. But he didn't make it. Put that boot right up in there instead, and here comes Zambui.
The big Zambui Express pounding Bobby Duncombe down. There's a headbutt, and Duncombe goes all the way to the mat.
Oh, look,
what's the Zambui doing? He's going into the trunk.
He sure is. He's got something in his trunks. And there it looks like
that silver object. It always appears every time he's into the ring.
It looks like some kind of a sharp-pointed, is it a fork or something? But
I can't tell what it is, but you can see it on the monitor there. It's very shiny. It's very easy to pick up.
The referee's attention is distracted, and Zambui just goes to work with that object. The referee still hasn't seen it. He needs to turn around and get over there and look before this man is debilitated here.
Well, the Zambui putting the whatever it is to the head of the fabulous Texan Bobby Duncombe. Our TV time remaining main event. We'll check with our official timekeeper. We must be getting close to time to expire. Here comes a one-man gang over here on the right. He's got a chair. He's coming into the ring. In fact, we're going to have all 5 in there. Oh,
what a
whoa, what a hit on the Zambui.
Look at him bent that chair, Steve. He literally bent that chair across Zambui's back.
Well, there you get it. The disqualification in that match. Big Bubba, Bobby Duncombe, and a one-man gang are going to be the winners as Hacksaw Higgins and Zambui Express are bailed out of the ring, ladies and gentlemen. As you look in the background now, as the one-man gang backs Hacksaw Higgins down, I want to thank Doyle King for being here with us in Austin tonight for Texas All-Star Wrestling. Doyle, appreciate you coming by, and we look forward to seeing you over in Big D.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. It's been my pleasure to be here. Some great matches tonight from Texas All-Star Wrestling, the best in the world right here.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Corpus Christi at the Memorial Coliseum, where we're going to put the cameras live for a cage match featuring Chris Adams from World Class against Cowboy Scott Casey from Texas All-Star Wrestling. Also, another one of those big 6-man tag team matches, Doyle, and this time the $1 million man will be in there with Austin Idol, and it's been a while since the fans have seen Austin Idol in Texas, and Killer Brooks. And what a fight that should be from Corpus Christi.
You know it's going to be the evil, devastating power of Gary Hart and his $1 million man.
Things are happening in professional wrestling, and it's with Texas All-Star Wrestling. Remember, the Texas 6-man tag team title is coming, and also the Texas Cup for 10 days, a possibility for one man to win $10,000. Texas All-Star Wrestling, it's #1. Till next week, on behalf of Rapido Rodriguez of Spanish Network and Doyle King, this is Steve Stack saying so long for Texas All-Star. It's Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road again tonight here at the Memorial Coliseum, Corpus Christi, Texas. As you can see the crowd filtering into the Coliseum. They're wrapped about a city block around the building trying to get in for the television matches here tonight. 2 6-man tag team matches lined up for you. It's Austin Idol will team up with El Madril and Killer Brooks to take on the American Force and the Hitman David Patterson. The other 6-man, it's Big Bubba, the Moon, and Bobby Duncombe against the Zambui Express. Hacksaw Higgins and the Ugandan Giant Kamala. And don't forget that big main event live for television tonight here in Corpus Christi. The cage will be put up around the ring, and locked inside will be Scott Casey against Chris Adams. A lot of excitement in the air here at the Memorial Coliseum tonight. And in the background, you hear the sounds of Bruiser Brody arriving. Nobody else comes to a wrestling match in this style as Bruiser Brody, as the Metatrans ambulance has arrived. And out are the attendants outside the Memorial Coliseum here in Corpus Christi. And as the doors open, it's just what you expect. Out comes the gurney. And out comes the man getting prepared for tonight as he has the 2x4 in his wrestling bag. And Gary Hart and Bruiser Brody have arrived.
The $1 Million Man is here on the Bayfront, you see. We're right here at Corpus Christi. I wish y'all could be here. And Bruiser Brody has come for a night's work. You see, and he ain't like a lot of people when he goes to the arena. He makes preparations. You see, come here, gentlemen, come here. Here is our assistants and ambulance attendants. You know this gentleman well. Would you give me your name again, please?
Yeah, it's Richard Jones, Metatrans Ambulance Service.
And they are prepared to take care of any kind of problem that Bruiser Brody's partners or opponents are going to run into. See, even me, a couple times I got whacked with him when he gets on the road. So that's why we have employed these gentlemen to come all the way from San Antonio, Texas, at our expense, right here to Corpus Christi, right here in front of this beautiful building. Right out over there is the beautiful golf, and right here is terror. This is real terror, brother, because anytime, I don't care if your name is Big Bubba, I don't care if your name is Kamala, I don't care if your name is the American Force, I don't care who you call yourself in the wrestling business. When you get in the ring with the $1 Million Man, it's horrible. It's going to be the worst experience in your life. But remember, Bruiser Brody uses this stretcher for 2 reasons. One, to carry his suitcase on, and the other one, to put his opponents on. But when it's over tonight in Corpus, someone will be wheeled out, put in the back of this ambulance, and whisked away down Shoreline Boulevard. Because it's going to happen anytime Bruiser Brody is around. Trouble is lurking, isn't it?
There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the $1 Million Man with Gary Hart. They've arrived here at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi for Texas All-Star Wrestling. And we're going into the ring for that opening match inside.
Warm right here at Corpus Christi.
Star 86 will be in Copperas Cove on Friday, January the 17th. Like to see all you great fans in Copperas Cove and Killeen and the surrounding area. Texas All-Star Wrestling 86 television on the road at the Mayburn Civic Center in Temple on Wednesday, January the 22nd, 7:30 starting time. The complete television crew will be at the Mayburn Civic Center for the Texas Cup matches, and here are the Texas Cup stars you'll be seeing at the Mayburn Civic Center for the television program. The $1 Million Man, Bruiser Brody, the Ugandan Giant Kamala, the Zambui Express, that's both of them, almost 900 pounds, the Wild Samoans from the WWF, Seeking Offa, also from the WWF, the Tonga Kid, the Mighty Zulu from Africa, Big Bubba from Texas All-Star, and American Force from Texas All-Star. The Wild Bull Ayala comes from Central America. The Hitman David Patterson and Chris Adams. Other great stars will be at the Mayburn Civic Center for the Texas Cup, Texas All-Star Wrestling television on the road on Wednesday, January the 22nd. Advanced tickets at the Civic Center. Come on out, enjoy the program, and watch yourself on television from Temple, Texas. Coming in here now, incomparable Gary Hart. And Gary Hart, the $1 Million Man, will be in the Texas Cup in Temple.
The Texas Cup coming to Temple, Texas. Last time the big Bruiser Brody and myself were there, we beat that Kamala till he looked like a dog. And remember how you cheered us. Remember how you screamed, "Go, Brody, go!" Go, Brody, go. We didn't do it for you, though. We did it for ourselves. Just like on the 22nd, Stars of the Texas Cup in Temple, we're going to be the winners. And if you don't believe it, sit yourself down ringside and watch it happen.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're picking up the bell here on Texas All-Star Wrestling for a six-man tag team match. It's El Madril, Austin Idol, and Killer Brooks against the American Force and the Hitman David Patterson here at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi as Texas All-Star Wrestling is on the road. And here with me is the General Skandor Akbar, who is interested in this six-man tag team match because his combination goes in the ring later on here today for a six-man tag team match.
Well, without a doubt, Steve Sachs, Texas All-Star Wrestling is rapidly becoming the hotbed of wrestling all across the country. Now, you have 6 of the top super heavyweights in the business right here in this squared circle right now, and the competition is fierce, it's keen, it's every man for himself as far as teams go. But I can tell you one thing, you can size up the teams that are in the ring, but you've got to know that the General and Devastation Incorporated with Kamala, Kareem Mohammed, the Zambui Express, and Hacksaw Higgins is just unbeatable as far as a combination. One other thing before I let it get away from my mind, Steve Sachs, I've got the other, Elijah Muhammad, and that's the second Zambui Express that I have talked about earlier on Texas All-Star Wrestling. He will be coming to join forces with Kareem Mohammed, and can you imagine the package that Devastation Incorporated has right now?
That's going to be a tough, and we look forward, General, to see your combination in the ring here later on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Right now, there are some big men in the ring. As you see the Hitman laying on the rope, Austin Idol. This is his first appearance live for Texas All-Star Wrestling, and it's here at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi. He has a few words with the Hitman. I'll tell you, look at the size of that Hitman.
Of course, the Austin Idol is a KJ veteran, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He's trying a little intimidation here with David Peterson, and of course, I think David's retaliated a little bit. Oh!
Idol found Patterson stepping out of the way, and it was Idol going in between the ropes. Six-man tag team action. The American Force, the Hitman's partner, and that American Force has to be the #1 tag team in the world today.
No doubt about it. They're fast, making a name for themselves. Of course, getting back to this, the six-man tag championship of the state of Texas. You know, January the 12th is going to be a memorable evening. A memorable evening. And I'm certainly looking forward to bringing Devastation Incorporated to Joe and Harry, the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio on January the 12th. Now, mark that down in your calendar, people, because that's going to be a night to remember.
That's going to be the finals of the Texas six-man tag team championship. We'll be crowning new champions that night. And you're getting a look at 4 teams here tonight, and I'm talking about 4 big teams. But on the 12th, in San Antonio at the Freeman Coliseum, there are 7 teams entered for that championship final.
And that makes the competition even more fierce, Steve Stack. That makes the men, you've got to dig down in your guts, and you've got to come up with all the intestinal fortitude that you can, because when you're in that squared circle, it's every man for himself. And there you see, as I've said before, Austin Idol is a very, very cagey veteran, and now he's using his ring savvy with the American Force.
Shawn Michaels of the American Force.
Shawn Michaels. And I want to elaborate one more time later on in this program, the General and Devastation. And we'll be going up a guy, I believe it's Big Bubba, the one-man game, and Bobby Duncombe. You know, Bobby Duncombe has continually stuck his nose in my business since he's been here. And, you know, Bobby Duncombe's going to be in for an education as well as the one-man gang and Big Bubba.
Now, in the ring, exciting action in this six-man tag team match. I want to tell you that January of '86 starts the year out for Texas All-Star Wrestling '86. Bigger than, better than any wrestling promotion in the world. It's right here with Texas All-Star Wrestling. I want to tell all you fans over in Temple, Texas, that in 2 weeks, Texas All-Star Wrestling's cameras will be at the Mayburn Civic Center in Temple on the 22nd. It's a Wednesday night.
Oh, that's going to be another night to remember. You know, Texas All-Star Wrestling, wherever in any arena that Texas All-Star Wrestling appears, that you've got the greatest wrestling action in the world today.
Over the top rope, excuse me, General. It looked like they threw him over the top rope. There were two referees, but I think both of them were distracted, and it was over the top rope. It is Shawn Michaels out on the floor. His partners there, Paul Diamond, and, of course, the hitman, David Patterson. They battled it out with Austin Idol, Killer Brooks, and El Madril. Anytime we have a tag team match, whether it be a six-man or a four-man tag team match, Texas All-Star Wrestling will be having two referees.
Well, I think that's a very, very good idea, Steve Stacks. I believe all the National Wrestling Alliance members or whatever are trying to initiate this procedure because naturally two referees are better than one in the ring any time. And, you know, the outcome of tonight's matches would have somewhat of a bearing on January the 12th, and I can't keep emphasizing this January the 12th because at Joe and Harry Freeman Coliseum, that's going to be one of the biggest nights in the Alamo City's history of wrestling.
Sure is. We're going to have new Texas six-man tag team champions. These are preliminary matches. Semifinals is what these are. And we have two semifinal matches here tonight. There's a tag, Austin Idol, tagging out to Killer Tim Brooks here on Texas All-Star Wrestling.
Steve Stacks, if you'll excuse me now, I must go and prepare my team, and you people will see Devastation Incorporated in action, the greatest organization of its kind in the history of professional wrestling.
Thank you very much, General. We'll be talking to the General Skandor Akbar later on as Paul Diamond is tagged in, and he goes to work. Paul Diamond. Really? Now we have all six men in the ring. Here goes Austin Idol being thrown out by the hitman. Madril is thrown into Diamond. Brooks knocks Diamond out of the ring, and it's Brooks and Shawn Michaels in the ring. Killer Brooks and Shawn Michaels. Everybody else has been knocked out. Here comes Diamond back up. He's crawling up on the top rope. Diamond dives. Diamond hooks Brooks. Diamond 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, Paul Diamond comes flying to the air, rolls up Killer Brooks, and they get the victory. That's the American Force and a hitman. But Madril, Brooks, and Austin Idol not satisfied, and I can see why. They're hot. There's no way they thought they'd ever lose this six-man tag team match, but they did. And they're still battling out in the ring. Somebody throws something in the crowd as the Honorable Armand Hussein is down there at ringside, and he gets the dousing with a cold drink. But there you have it, the American Force and the Hitman, the winner. Stay tuned because we'll be back with another exciting match right after this.
This is Scott Casey. I want you to stay tuned to this program because I'm going to beat the stuffings out of that Chris Adams in a cage match.
The dressing room now at the Hemisphere Arena, where this past week we interviewed Wahoo McDaniel as he came from the ring, where he was involved in a six-man tag team match. He was teamed up with a one-man gang in Big Bubba. They met Austin Idol, Killer Brooks, and the $1 million man, Bruiser Brody. Here's the chief himself.
Well, Wahoo McDaniel, I couldn't believe what I saw here tonight, that match, you and Bruiser Brody. Last time you were in Texas, I believe you and Bruiser Brody were friends.
Well, you know, I've been friends with Brody, and evidently he's decided to look the other way, and he's done some things that I don't really agree with. You know, he wants to come back here. I know Texas, he's made it his home, but you know, Brody, Texas is my home also. And, you know, the man used to be my friend. I'm not going to say he didn't because he's helped me in some situations that I needed help. But now, after seeing some of the things he's done, he's just like anybody else, man. When the money gets high enough, the offer gets good enough, then he switches allegiance. Well, I tell you, I don't like a man like that. You can't trust a man like that. Now, he wants to be the #1 man here in San Antonio. He let all these fans down tonight, and he wanted to push me around. He thinks because I'm not quite as tall as him and not quite as big as him. Well, Brody, I'm going to tell you one thing. I might not be as tall as you. Weight-wise, I'm pretty close to you. And you ought to know by now, I've been around just about as much as you have. I've went in these beer joints. I've had fights in there. I've fought my way in and out. And, you know, fear doesn't really bother me. But to lose a friendship when somebody bids higher for you, you know, that really galls me. And San Antonio has always been a good place for me. The fans have been great here, and they deserve more than what you're giving them. Now, the 150th centennial of Texas, brother, I've been gone a long time. I'm coming home to Texas. I'm coming home to stay. This is going to be my home from now on. And Brody, Texas is a big, big place, but I just don't believe it's big enough for you and me. So when I come back here, I'm bringing all my stuff with me. And I plan on making this my permanent home. So you better get to training. You better figure out some way to stop me, to get rid of me, to hurt me. Because I guarantee you, I'm coming back to stay. And Brody, when I get here, you're going to have to leave the state of Texas.
Chief, I believe like you, I think it's the $1 million that Gary Hart put up front that has changed Bruiser Brody, and I know you'd like to get him in that Texas Cup final.
Well, you know, right now, that Texas Cup final is not bothering me. It's Brody punching me with that stick, trying to knock my head right off, and selling his allegiance for $100,000. Sure, that's a lot of money. But I guarantee you one thing, a man that sells his pride for $100,000 can't be too much to start with. $1 million, well... Still, a man that sells his pride for $1 million is not much. And I know Gary Hart, that's the way he's got to everybody, through their pocketbook. But I'm going to tell you, I'm coming to Texas. And Brody, Texas is not big enough for you and me. And you can count on it, one of us is going to leave.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Chief Wahoo McDaniels coming back to Texas for Bruiser Brody. Next week, here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, we'll be showing you exactly what happened as the $1 Million Man run into Wahoo McDaniel. And now, let's go to the ring here at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi and pick up our next match. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Nolte with the introductions as we pick up Mark Youngblood against Danny Gage. I tell all you fans in Temple, Texas, Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road to Mayburn Civic Center in Temple on Wednesday, the 22nd of January. The stars will be there for the Texas Cup, and I'm talking about a lot of stars. Mark Youngblood hooks up with Danny Gage here on Texas All-Star Wrestling tonight at the Memorial Coliseum here in Corpus Christi. Another great crowd on hand. Youngblood from Taos, New Mexico, finds himself in a side headlock. Danny Gage. Gage squeezes on tight. Now they're back to the ropes. Here comes Gage, bouncing off the rope. A shoulder knocks Youngblood down. Big chop. Coming up later on, that main event, the cage match, the Cowboy Scott Casey against Chris Adams. That's yet to come here, plus another one of those big, exciting six-man tag team matches. I want to tell you, the cameras of Texas All-Star Wrestling will be at the Joe Freeman Coliseum on the 12th to pick up the finals of the Texas six-man tag team championship. You don't want to miss that. See who comes out of this one. I want to tell you fans also that in San Antonio, Texas All-Star Wrestling every Monday night at the Wrestlathon, 1704 Blanco Road. Youngblood whips Gage into the ropes. Shoulder knocks Youngblood down. Over the top goes Gage. Over the top goes Youngblood. Over the top goes Gage this time, and it's Youngblood another time, an arm drag. And Youngblood holds on. The Texas Cup matches are underway in Texas. And if they're in your city, you don't want to miss them because the stars are in Texas in January with Texas All-Star Wrestling 86. Oh, look at Youngblood get that boot right up under the chin of Danny Gage. There's the war dance, a big tomahawk across the back of the neck. Ducked underneath that one by Gage, and there's that boot up underneath the chin again, and Mark Youngblood takes Danny Gage, whips him across the ring. Judo chops him down, and here comes Youngblood flying in for the press. It's 1, 2, 3, and Mark Youngblood wins it here on Texas All-Star Wrestling, Memorial Coliseum, Corpus Christi. Stay tuned, because coming up next, up front with Fantasy, right after this.
This is Gentleman Chris Adams here. Stay tuned to this channel to see me rip Scott Casey's head apart.
Chris, I'd like to tell you what an extreme honor and privilege and pleasure it is to have someone such as your status on my show today. I'd like to thank you for being here.
Well, I'm really pleased to be here, but I can't do any interview until all you people shut up!
Well, you know what, Chris? These people don't know class when they see it. What do these people know anyway? First off, Chris, I'd like to start my show out by asking you, just what part of England are you from?
I'm from Stratford-on-Avon in England. You know where Shakespeare was born and where all the culture comes from?
Oh, yes, I know. I can tell you have the finest culture embedded.
Well, listen, I just need to say to you that it's an honor to be on your show in front of a real woman. Why don't you just stand up so you can show everybody out there just what a real woman looks like? You see this? Slim, good-looking. She works out hard. She doesn't sit down all day watching soap operas, getting a big pot belly, and just sing. All you fat women out there, all your husbands sitting in front of the TV right now, drooling over this woman, just looking and drooling. No wonder you're jealous. You cannot get on unless you get out of the chair, go to the gym, work out. And you know what really amazes me? The women, they spend 3 or 4 hours in front of the mirror, combing their hair, putting makeup on. For what? They come out looking like 2 balloons. It's just not... Here's a real woman. Now you take notice and shut up when she speaks to you.
Thank you, sir. What class you have, I gotta tell you. You know what, Chris, you're a very, very nice-looking guy yourself.
Well, thank you.
And let me tell you, it's hard to give Fantasy's approval. But you certainly have got my approval. But listen, Chris, I wanted to ask you another question. I hear that your brother was in the 1984 Olympics and that he won a silver medal. Can you tell me about this and what it was for?
Right. You see, my brother, like myself, is a judo expert, okay? He started when he was this size. He didn't start out watching TV like you people outside.
No men in Texas.
He trains every day. He won a silver medal in the 1984 Olympics. He won a silver medal in the 1980 Olympics. He's won the World Judo Championship 3 times. And we come from a family with athletic ability and high class.
You think I don't know that? I can recognize true class when I see it, Chris. Let me say this to you. I see that you come from a fine family of great athletic ability and tremendous agility. I'd like to commend you on that.
Well, thank you, Fantasy, because I know it takes one to know one. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let me ask...
A real woman, a real woman.
Let me ask you something, Chris. Did you get this from a hard experience and work, or did this just come natural with your style and class?
Well, of course, I was born with it naturally.
Of course.
But of course, you're born with it naturally, but if you don't look after it, you won't keep it. So all you people who are born there naturally with some kind of gift, most of you just sit in front of the TV, like I say, watch soap operas all day, and you don't take it any further than that. The reason that I'm a superstar right now is because I work for it, and I want you people out there to know that I work for it, and to know why I am successful, and to know why this woman here will be the most successful woman on TV.
Now, we all know that this is the biggest superstar in professional wrestling today, Chris Adams. I've got another question for you, Chris. I want to ask you about your name, Gentleman Chris Adams, and you certainly are a true gentleman, in my opinion. Now, how did you achieve this name?
Well, the reason that I got the name of a gentleman is because I am a gentleman. I am a gentleman. All people from England are gentlemen. It's like you. You know, I know that you are a lady.
Thank you, Chris. And I know that you're a real man.
Okay.
I want to tell you what an honor it is to have you here at Texas All-Star Wrestling. I've already told you that. But now, what are your plans? Are you going to be with us for a while, or did we just get very, very lucky for this evening?
Well, let me tell you about my immediate plan. And it's to smash Scott Case's head and run it right around the ring along that cage tonight. That's my immediate plan here in Texas All-Star. But I will be back, and anybody that wants to take me on, you know where I'll be.
Chris, do you think I could just give you a congratulations kiss on the victory that I know you're going to have over Scott Casey, that imitation cowboy?
Oh, sure.
Congratulations.
You know, Francie, it was real nice being on your segment. And like I said, here is a real woman. She will be the most popular woman. Alexis has got nothing on this woman. You'll see.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Adams.
Ah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the introductions of this six-man tag team. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another six-man tag team match coming up. Well, we hope you enjoyed the Up Front with Fantasy. And next week, Miss Fantasy will be back with Austin Idol. You don't want to miss that one. Six-man tag team action, and you talk about monsters. We got them here. Both teams over 1,100 pounds. You've got the one-man gang, Big Bubba and Bobby Duncombe, against the Zambui Express, Hacksaw Higgins, and the Ugandan Giant, Kamala. 2 referees for this one. We might need 6 referees for this one. Boy, these guys are giants. Remember, the six-man tag team tournament winds down at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio on Sunday, the 12th of January. We'll be crowning a new Texas six-man tag team champion. Of course, this match will have some bearing on that. We had 2 of those matches tonight. That's 4 teams. For the finals, there will be 7. And the cameras of Texas All-Star Wrestling will be there to pick up the winners of the Texas six-man tag team championship. It's Bobby Duncan from Austin, Texas, against the man from New York City, Hacksaw Higgins. Higgins and Duncan, both 300-pounders. Everybody else in the ring is 400, so you can say that Higgins and Duncan are kind of small compared to the rest of the guys in the ring. Isn't that something when you're 300 pounds and you're not as big as everybody else? There's Kamala, the Ugandan Giant, with a big shot. The Zambui Express pounds ahead of Bobby Duncombe. Temple, Texas, Mayburn Civic Center. That's the next time for Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road, and it happens on Wednesday, January the 22nd. Don't miss it in Temple, Texas. Texas All-Star Wrestling on the road. Tonight, we're at the Memorial Coliseum, Corpus Christi. The fans are enjoying it. We hope you're enjoying it at home. The month of January of '86 brings you the finest in professional wrestling from Texas All-Star Wrestling. Big Bubba in there pounding it out with the Zambui Express. Kamala started in. The General Skandor Akbar is outside the ring. Manuel Villalobos, the referee on the inside of the ring. Outside the ring is George Stevens. Texas Cup matches underway in Texas. Boy, there are a lot of stars entered in it. These guys you're seeing in the ring now are entered. Also, those Wild Samoans seeking up, the Tonga Kid, Bruiser Bodie, the Wild Bull Ayala, Scott Casey, Chris Adams, and more. So don't miss the Texas Cup in your city. It's all happening this month. As you look at Big Bubba and the Zambui Express, and in the background you see Kamala, the Ugandan Giant. Now he steps out of the picture, and Big Bubba is making his way up. The fans are behind the United States heavyweight champion, Big Bubba, as he powers the Zambui Express down. The Zambui has the leg over that rope. Big Bubba and the Zambui Express. This is one of the semifinals of the six-man Texas Tag Team Tournament that has been going on throughout the state of Texas. Those finals once again at the Freeman Coliseum, San Antonio on Sunday the 12th. 7 teams will be in the finals, and we'll crown a new Texas six-man Tag Team champion. Be there. The cameras of Texas All-Star Wrestling will be there. Kamala's Big Bubba, get out of the way. Here's the one-man gang is tagged in now from Halstead Street, Chicago, and the fans say moon, moon, moon. Look at the moon. Knock down the Zambui Express. He goes over to the Ugandan Giant, and Hacksaw Higgins swim their heads together. gang tags out to Bobby Duncum. The Moon holds the Zambui Express. Duncum is in swinging. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, a cage match. Chris Adams, Scott Casey, that's our main event today. You don't want to miss it. And next week, the American Force will be putting on their their Asian tag team titles on the line as the Asian Cup will be up. The American Force against Killer Brooks and Austin Dino, in our big main event next week. We'll find Kamala, the Ugandan Giant. You see him in the ring against Bruiser Brody. That's Bruiser Brody and Kamala next week right here on Texas All-Star Wrestling. Boy, I don't know anywhere you can go and catch the excitement of professional wrestling the way you're getting it from Texas All-Star Wrestling 86. The Ugandan Giant pounding at Bobby Duncum. Duncum with some forearms knocks the Ugandan Giant back on the rope. Here comes a one-man gang chasing General Skandor Akbar, and Zambui Express intercepts him. They're fighting outside the ring. Inside the ring, it's Bobby Duncum and Big Bubba. As now Hacksaw Higgins makes his way out in, he hooks up with Bobby Duncum there over the corner. One-man gang has made it back up on the apron, and so has the Zambui Express. Here comes the Zambui Express in now. Here comes the one-man gang. Big Bubba's in now. Big Bubba has hold of the Zambui Express. The one-man gang is coming out. Oh, Kamala has got something. He is going after the one-man gang with it. And the one-man gang, it's that whip that the General Skandor Akbar carries. The one-man gang is taking it away from Kamala. The bell is sounding at ringside. There is the Ugandan Giant outside the ring with the one-man gang. Bubba is choking the Zambui Express. Duncum hooks up with Hacksaw Higgins. Six-man tag team action. Remember, this is one of the semifinal matches. The finals will be at the Freeman Coliseum on Sunday, the 12th of January. And these teams, at least one of them will be there, and maybe both of them, because I don't know what the decision this match is going to be, as they fight all over here. The Ugandan Giant is choking the one-man gang. Bubba is there with the Ugandan Giant, as is Bobby Duncum, and we're going to try to get General Skandor Akbar to come up here with us as they still fight down the aisle. And Texas All-Star Wrestling 86 television on the road at the Mayburn Civic Center in Temple, Texas, Wednesday, January the 22nd, 7:30 starting time. The stars of the Texas Cup will be there. From the Japanese Pro Wrestling Association, you'll see the $1 million man, Bruiser Brody. From the AWA, it's the Ugandan Giant Kamala and the two huge Zambui Express. From the WWF, it's the Wild Samoan Sika and Afa. The Tonga Kid, also from the WWF. From Africa, it's the Mighty Zulu. From Central America, it's the Wild Bull Ayala. From Texas All-Star, it's the Hitman, the American Force, and Big Bubba. And from World Class, it's Chris Adams. Stars from more wrestling organizations that have ever been joined together will be there for the Texas Cup and Texas All-Star Wrestling's television taping, Mayburn Civic Center, Temple, Texas, Wednesday, January the 22nd, 7:30. Advance tickets at the Mayburn Civic Center. Be there and enjoy it and watch yourself on television. The American Force, the Hitman, have entered the Texas Cup. They'll be in Temple. There's a possibility, gentlemen, that you may be wrestling each other. Sean?
That's right, Steve. First of all, we'd like to say hello to everybody in Copper's Cove. Paul and I will be there, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody. But more importantly on our minds is the fact that one of us may have to wrestle the other. And right now we're in the process of being the six-man tag team and trying to win the championships. But we have discussed it with each other, and this is for more money than any of us can possibly dream about getting in one night. So we have agreed that we will wrestle each other if it comes up. We'd like to tell everybody, if you've never seen a TV taping, to come on out, because we've done it on the road a couple times now. We've had a lot of fun. We want everybody to come on out in Temple, Texas. Last time we were there was great. We want even more of you to come on out. We're looking forward to seeing you. And again, guys, $10,000. We got to go for it.